we've got to talk about the Democrat Party today because they are in some trouble, some major trouble. And I know Democrat politicians try to hide this, right, by doing all of their political theater, their theatrics and distractions. But in reality, the Democrat Party is in a really terrible place, a really, really terrible place. And, you know, we're going to get into some of the reasons why, but you know they're in a terrible place when they start saying stuff like what I'm about to let you hear from AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. All right? So check out this clip. Let's dive in.
You know, I do think that several members of Congress in some of my discussions have brought up media literacy because that is a part of what happened here. And we're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false. And so that's something that we're looking into. You know, I do.
So censoring free speech. You're afraid when the people get to talk freely, like what we have now with X, you're afraid that you'll just continue to lose. Like what just happened. You saw the mainstream media lie on your behalf for the better part of a year and a half, and it didn't work because people are allowed to speak freely and you don't like it. And you understand and see that no time soon will you ever win again. You know they're in a bad place when they start talking about censoring free speech. Their approval rating is 21%, and this is according to Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac. Yeah. Read it right there. It's on your screen. 21% approval rating according to Quinnipiac. So it's probably a lot lower than that. I'd say it's probably closer to the low teens because there are some people who approve of what the Democrat Party is doing. We have to acknowledge that. But I think that number is very, very small. So I would guess 10 to 12%. Low teens. Anyway, check out what I just came across. According to the Daily Wire, USAID gave known con man $800 million contract to do Kamala's work on the root cause of migration. President Joe Biden's USAID awarded an $800 million contract to a business operating out of Virginia, out of a Virginia home, even after it formally ruled that its key manager lacked honesty or integrity, a reference to the fact that according to a May 12th guilty plea, he had secured USAID contracts through bribery for a decade. The contract was addressing issues affecting the root cause of irregular migration from Central America to the United States, the work that Biden assigned to Vice President Kamala Harris, but which she never appeared to address, a Daily Wire investigation found. The Department of Justice announced Friday that Walter Barnes III, the founder of government contractor Vistant, previously known as PM Consulting Group or PMCG, and Roderick Watson, a USAID contracting official, pleaded guilty to a bribery scheme in which Barnes and two others conspired to pay Watson $1 million in exchange for $544 million in contracts. And you still don't think USAID needed to be shut down? It most definitely needed to be shut down. Most definitely needed to be shut down. But there's more, guys. There is more.
I'm sitting here in my office right now, waiting for some code to compile so I can push this software live, and I'm reading through Instagram and Twitter. I just saw that the Democrat Party is broke. Completely broke. They're about to take out loans in order to pay their bills. I find that very interesting. Doge comes into the government, completely defunds USAID, and a month later, after USAID is completely defunded, the Democrat National Committee is broke. Where were they getting their money? Were they stealing all of their money from American taxpayers? Sure seems like it.
What a connection, huh? What a connection. Interesting timing. Now we're getting reports of the DNC going broke. Shortly after, just a couple of months or a month after, USAID was basically shut down. Interesting how that works, isn't it? I don't think that's a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that's a coincidence. Check it out from the New York Post. Let's read a little bit of this here because this is some interesting stuff, guys. Really, really interesting stuff. Democrats' main fundraising committee so cash-strapped it is considering borrowing money. Party is, you know what? Democrats' main fundraising committee is losing big donors and so cash-strapped that its officials have discussed borrowing money just to keep the lights on, with one source spilling to the Post that if things don't turn around before the 2026 midterms, the party is effed. We are 6 months in and we're drowning, a source close to the Democratic National Committee told the Post. Hold on, there we go. Where was that? Democrat told the Post about the current rate of contributions. The RNC was so cash heavy in hitting us day after day after day when Biden was president. We have no clear path or plan, they added. The midterms are going to come before we know it, and then we're going to be really effed. The DNC struggled to message against the Trump administration and rather public leadership infighting, including the recent departure of former DNC Vice Chair David Hogg, has also led some of its largest donors to taper off their contributions, the New York Times first reported. Yeah, the DNC is in some major trouble, guys. Major trouble. I want to read a little bit of this here so you guys can get some of the numbers. DNC cash shrinks as leadership fallout continues. The Democrat National Committee's internal crisis has reached a critical point as its cash reserves dry up. The Democrat Party has been in disarray since its blistering losses in the 2024 elections. Issues haven't let up in recent months, with the DNC being consumed by leadership infighting. The poor fortunes of the organization extended into their finances, with cash flows drying up. Federal record shows the DNC's cash reserve shrank by $4 million from January to April compared to the Republican National Committee's coffers, which grew by about $29 million over the same period. The DNC entered May with $18 million, while the RNC entered with $67.4 million. The decline is partly due to big donors withholding their money. Just 3 people donated $100,000 or more to the DNC from January to April. People invested more money than they ever had before in 2024. They dug deeper than they ever had, and they are quite frustrated by the result. DNC Chair Kim Martin said, "They want answers. I don't take it personally. I wasn't in charge." So yeah, the DNC is running out of cash, and we just went through and we just had an election, and this is why this is huge. Because I know some folks are going to say, well, 67 million isn't a lot of money either in terms of an entire party. So, like, the RNC may be in trouble too. No. First off, we're leading in the polls. Second off, we just watched the DNC and Kamala's campaign spend over $2 billion in 3 months. I mean, just burn through money like it was going out of style. And they lost. Not only did they lose, but they lost every single swing state, and they lost the popular vote. So in my humble opinion, in order for Democrats to win, they've got to outspend Republicans like 10-1. It's got to be like 10-1. Because we just watched them outspend Trump, because I think the Trump campaign, I want to say like 600 million, I want to say. If I remember the number, I could be wrong on the numbers. Correct me in the comments if I am incorrect. So we just watched them outspend Republicans by a significant amount, and they still lost. And it hasn't gotten, the climate for Democrats has not gotten any better. So if they want to win, they're going to have to outspend Republicans by plus 10 if they want a shot. And these numbers here are not looking good. With 18 million in reserves, and there's no there's nothing in sight that's going to turn that 18 million around and start increasing, they are effed. They are effed, right? Because even with mainstream media still doing their thing and Trump bad, Republicans terrible, blah, 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 Trump still has a better approval rating than the Democrat Party. With all of the no kings, which it's stupid. You're protesting no kings, but the fact that you're out protesting and you're not in jail lets everybody know that we don't have a king. I'm just saying, because if we did have a king, you wouldn't be out in the streets protesting. He would have had Joe Budden in prison somewhere. So, like, the logic behind that makes absolutely no sense. No kings. And as Trump said, if he was a king, everything that he wanted to do as far as his executive orders, he wouldn't have any issues passing them. But it seems like at every turn, there's some rogue liberal judge somewhere that tells him, oh, no, you can't do this. If he was a king, that wouldn't be an issue. So what exactly are we protesting again? I'm confused. Just saying. I honestly don't understand protest. It's pointless to me. Like, what has changed? Can anybody explain to me what a protest actually does? I'm confused. I think it's just a complete waste of time. No kings. Well, guess what? Trump was your president before you started that protest, and he's still your president after. So what exactly did you accomplish by that? Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. But yeah, get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions about this. Do you think Democrats will be able to turn this around? Do you think this is connected to USAID? As far as, the Democrat coffers completely being diminished, do you think there's a connection to USAID in that? Let me know. I think there is a connection. I don't think this is a coincidence that shortly after USAID was shut down, now we're learning that the DNC is going broke. I don't think that's a coincidence. Now, do I think it has something to do with the last election? Absolutely. Absolutely. I do think that there were a lot of people who did donate to the Democrat Party, who did see their money get absolutely wasted, who are angry, who won't donate again. Yeah, of course. But I don't think that's the main factor in this entire thing. I think it has more to do with USAID, but that's just my humble opinion. You let me know yours in the comments, all right? And make sure you guys hit that like button before you go. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.